Top of the hour, KDKA News at 11. Let's head over to the news desk. That's where Ken Rice is. Good evening, Ken.
Josh, good evening. Coming up at 11, Mayor Ed Gainey meeting with people in Garfield tonight. What they say they want to see improved in their neighborhood, plus what the city's doing to try and make the Beyonce concert happen. And what's next for a city basketball court that just won a big makeover competition. All coming up in minutes on KDKA TV News at 11. Josh, see you in a few minutes.
Appreciate it, Ken. Also coming up during the sports broadcast at 11, we're going to talk a little bit more about Pirates and Dodgers. That game is still 1-0, by the way. We'll talk a little bit more Penguins as well. Speaking of talking about Penguins, since we got a few minutes left here, Chris Mueller, big announcement today. Patrick Hornquist has decided to retire after 15 seasons, 901 games played in the NHL. 6 of those seasons played right here in Pittsburgh, and he helped Pittsburgh bring 2 Stanley Cup championships back here to the Burgh. But Chris, I want to ask you this question because we know what Patrick Hornquist, we know what the number said, and we saw the production. The eye test was very much there as far as what we saw him do. He was the guy that scored the game winner in Game 6 down in Nashville that won them the Cup in 2017. We know about the HBK line. Chris, where do you rank the acquisition of Patrick Hornquist on the list of moves that Jim Rutherford made as general manager? Because he made some great ones and he made some not so great, maybe questionable and a little bit crazy moves as well. But where do you rank Patrick Hornquist as far as moves Jim Rutherford made to build this into a Stanley Cup team?
I could rank it number 1. I'm tempted to put Phil Kessel, that blockbuster trade, up there because I still maintain Kessel should have won the Conn Smythe in 2016. I thought that Crosby got it as sort of the Lifetime Achievement Award. He was dominant against the Sharks, don't get me wrong, Crosby was, but Kessel was, I thought, the best player on that team for the entirety of the playoffs. So I'd still probably put that number 1. But as far as like one of those hockey trades that sort of changes a team's mindset and outlook, I think Hornquist for James Neal straight up is one of those, and it's probably the second best deal Rutherford made. Some people might argue it's the best, and I could understand why. The Nashville Predators needed pure scoring sniper ability. They got it. The Penguins badly needed a guy who could play in front of the net and just kind of agitate opponents and who had skill, and Hornquist had that despite not being the biggest guy, which is probably a part of the reason he retired, frankly. I know his health was one of those things that just caught up to him in the last couple of years. He was invaluable, though. I mean, he scored grimy, ugly goals. He made them better on special teams. He was just a blood and guts dude. So those are probably the 2 biggest moves Rutherford made, as well as maybe the heist of Trevor Daley for Rob Scuderi in 2017. That one stands out as pretty good as well.
You stole my thunder. I was going to say Kessel 1. I was going to put Trevor Daley 2 and then Hornquist 3. Because the fact that they were able to get Trevor Daley in that deal for Rob Scuderi, you think about it even half a decade later, it still feels like highway robbery to get Trevor Daley in that deal. And he was a guy who really helped kickstart that offense from the blue line. So I'm going to say Kessel 1. I'll go Daley 2 just for the sheer trade robbery of it all. And I'll put Hornquist 3. But you really can't discount the impact of Patrick Hornquist on this team. And you talked about it, the way he played in front of the net. I used to always mention, like I always joked that, if he played at least half the season, he was probably good for 20 goals plus free shipping. It was just something that you expected. It was just automatic being a big part of that team, Chris.
He was a direct, trading for him, I think, in a lot of ways, was a direct outcome of the way they got humiliated by Boston a few years prior. Or, what would have been? I don't even remember now how many years prior to his acquisition, but you get shut out basically for 4 games and you can't get anything going in front of the net. You need somebody that's going to agitate, and I think that's why they got Hornquist, and it paid off big.
Totally paid off in 2 Stanley Cup championships. Chris, appreciate the time as always. For Chris Mueller, for our producer Hannah Mears, and our team here at KDKA and Pittsburgh CW, I'm Josh Taylor saying thanks for watching, thanks for your calls, thanks for your tweets. It's you guys that make this show great. We're here for you every night on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. See you later.